Hello, welcome to the 1878FM Podcast. Just three of us today. Sam Avery is probably watching Minecraft again somewhere in a cinema in London or something. You know, it keeps appearing on BBC TV and stuff, breakfast, to talk about it. So why not go revisit it?
Who thought a man in his
30s?
Mid to late 40s?
How old is Sam, by the way?
I don't know. I
don't think he's mid.
Hang on, can we Google it? Is
like
he online? Hang on, let's have a look.
Is it? I don't even think Sam's his real name.
You know, Sam Avery, stand-up. I mean, it would have been easier to have asked him this on another week when he's been here.
Wouldn't it? But I feel like
actually we can get some material out of this.
Yeah.
Maybe. How old is he?
I don't know whether it'll tell you. Might it be easy just to ask Sam himself?
I mean, we could text him now. Should we text him? Shall I text him?
Isn't he on the big slide at West Ham's ground?
I think
I
that's
know
where
he is. But let me just text him now.
Okay.
We need a definitive answer, I think.
Yeah, we need to
know. Do you know what I'm going to get? Should we have a little? Should we have a little, like a sort of, not a sweepstake, but just a little fun bet on it? I'm going to say 43.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm going 41.
And see, I knew you were going to go 41, so therefore I'm going to go 44.
Fair enough. I think we're all in the same ballpark. But the point being, before we get the answer to this, the point being is, how did he become the nation's Minecraft correspondent?
I love it.
When most of those kids, well, all those kids, because they are literal kids, are, you know,
connoisseurs,
10 to 14, which, you know, he was early on there. You know, he was very much in the D-Day of the Minecraft situation. He was there first day when they start, because I don't know if you two have seen this, but this has got out of hand. The stuff he was actually talking about. It's got, as soon as they say chicken jockey, and the kids are just going mental. I mean, it's the best word
well, it
ever.
Was happening in America first, wasn't it? But it's seeped over there, you know.
I think it sort of was equal.
I don't know.
Excuse my ignorance, but what is a chicken jockey, if that's not a ridiculous thing to say in a live broadcasting environment?
Baz?
It's something that happens in Minecraft.
See, I have no idea. I've never...
I just know that that's the line.
Yeah, I've never played Minecraft. I just know that the game, the film is full of, nods, massive nods.
I think James might know.
James knows. James, what's chicken jockey? Just jump in for a minute.
This clip of me isn't going to get used in a sort of brass-eyed special, is it? You know, where they get people to say silly things.
Well, we don't know at the moment.
What is
the right answer.
Go on, James.
So in the game, you can have a baby zombie that rides a chicken, attacks you, and runs after you.
Okay.
So that's what a chicken jockey.
Okay, that's all right. That's as good as answer.
That is better than I thought.
I mean, do you know, it's way better than I was expecting. And I feel way more comfortable now.
I'm all right with it now.
Yeah, so
I'm happy with that.
So it's gone off, hasn't it? All over the place. There's loads of video. I mean, the TikTok, we put the video out on TikTok, and that does mad numbers of him explaining it. So we can understand why he's become the national correspondent for chicken jockey. I mean, imagine having that on your LinkedIn profile. So he deserves a week off.
Yeah. From play team.
I just wonder whether he'll be walking around East London, getting stopped while he's having his jelly and eels or whatever, pie and mash.
I think so.
But
there's fish finger butties for 84 quid or whatever they'll be.
That was in West London when we had them.
Yeah, but that was years ago, and they were still about 38 quid.
Yeah, but we didn't pay.
And they were literally a fish finger on a piece of white bread.
Crusty bread, though.
It was crusty bread, to be fair. But fair play to Sam. He's the Minecraft.
I'm sure we'll get an answer.
So he's not here?
No, he's not here.
No?
Still nothing yet.
Yeah, no. Wasn't expecting that. He's not going to be texting mid-slide, is he?
I was shocked to see that he was on holiday, and then he sent us a picture from literally outside West Ham's ground. I thought, who goes on holiday
to West Ham's ground?
Yeah.
Like nobody, not even West Ham fans.
I think the West Ham players feel like they're on holiday a little bit.
The West Ham fans are still trying to get on the tube from the last home game. So that's how bad it is.
Fair play.
Right, hang on a minute.
Oh.
It's gone quiet.
I don't know what's happening.
Gone quiet. He's ringing him.
Oh, he's calling.
Wow.
Hiya, mate.
Sam.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm really sorry to interrupt your Easter holidays, right? But how old are you?
46.
46.
Oh.
Yeah.
You see, I said 43. Who said 41?
I said 41.
I went 44.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen. I'm not saying that it's a quiet week, with it being Easter holidays and all, but but this has been the first 15 minutes, so we needed some kind of resolve. Yeah. Anyway, that's all it was. So listen, have a lovely holiday and happy Easter.
Happy Easter, Sam.
Happy West Ham, Hing.
Bye.
Bye.
There you go. We needed to know, didn't we?
We did. I mean, to be fair, he sounded calmer than the time you rang Andy Bush.
46.
And remember when Dave rang Steve Guttenberg, but he didn't answer, did he? Well, fair play.
Didn't answer. I think
fair play. That might have been a different conversation, Dave, mightn't it? Steve, how old are you? How old were you in Police Academy?
Steve, what is a chicken jockey?
he mightn't have been as responsible.
He might know all about it.
He might have made Minecraft for all we know. Everton went to Nottingham Forest at the weekend, and Dave turned in a thoroughly excellent away performance and ended up with the 3 points. I'd go as far as saying it was the most comfortable, as in a complete performance that David Moyes' team has put, certainly away, has performed this season, because they were up against a very, very good side, and to win the game was absolutely tremendous at the weekend.
I would agree with you totally. I think that they were head and shoulders the best team for 90 minutes. I don't know whether Forest, I mean, like most of us, I've not seen much of Forest this season, other than, when on highlights or if we've been playing them. But I don't know whether they had an off day, but I looked at that and I thought, I can't believe that they're third. I'm not saying that we didn't play well, because I thought we played brilliantly, but I didn't think that they offered a great deal at all. From start to finish, I thought we looked relaxed. I think it was very much a state of mind and where we are in the season, in that, we're safe and we're not threatened by anything. And it just felt like a team performance where, they just went out and actually just enjoyed it, and all the pressure was on Forest, given where they are. And in terms of where they might finish. So I thought it was great. I thought it was some great individual performances, and it was just good to see. And I mean, as we approach full time, and I think we would have all sort of gone, still be happy with the point, but actually to get all three, I think we deserved it, and it's good to see.
I was fuming at 90 minutes.
That it was only going to be one.
Not that we hadn't scored. Before I was thinking, we've been really good today. And we've wasted...
Sorry, when I said only one, I meant only 1 point. Sorry.
Yeah. I was just thinking, we've been really good. And this is a performance against the team who have had a brilliant season. And I was so frustrated that we hadn't taken our chance. Yeah. It's like one of those... In the grand scheme of things, it was 3 points. It didn't really matter. But the performance and how quiet we'd kept Forest, who have been excellent all season, and it just felt like, even though it didn't really mean anything overall, it was feeling to me like a big missed opportunity to sort of go, that's how good we can be. And the job that the manager's done, we have got good players. They're not amazing, but there's some good players. We do need a bit more quality, but it was feeling like that was slipping away. So I was frustrated. If we'd have been hanging on a little bit, I'd have been like you, Dave, or as you've just said, I'd have been going, 0-0's not a bad result here. But we were the team doing all of the sort of counter-attack and all the pressure. And for us not to have grabbed those 3 points would have been really disappointing. It felt like to me. And I did say to God, the universe, the ether, whatever, why do we never get last-minute winners in these games? And I'll give you the little thing. This is what was mad. Forest, I could have, and I didn't, and I should have, so I'm disappointed in myself. But, well, then your mum would have been right, because he did. The pitches I was getting were probably about 90 seconds behind the game, right? So Nottingham Forest got that corner, didn't he? In the 93rd minute or something. So I got up where I was watching it and went to put the kettle on and was like, I can't look at that screen if they score now, because that's how fuming I was that we weren't winning. And I picked my phone up, thought, because it was by where the kettle was, on charge, to see the other scores. And I put it on. And as I went down the thing, it had Forest 0, Everton 1.
Oh.
So I lashed it, legged it back, and jumped back in optimum position. And I'll be honest, it was
Optimum position.
It was the most exciting 23 seconds because I knew it ended with a goal. It was nirvana. If you are watching it a minute behind.
I have that right. So no, literally the same thing happened to me.
Okay, yeah.
So I have that habit of when. Right. So listen, we're all big boys. No one. I don't think anyone's watching. That could get us into trouble. But we, for our job, have to watch the games. We have to. And that sometimes means that...
Well, you watch it whichever way you can.
Watch whichever way you can watch.
Yeah, we don't have to say any more than that. We all watch it whichever way we can.
That's not our fault. It's our job. And I actually think, I was thinking about this the other day, thinking if someone barged in my house and said, you shouldn't be watching that, I think we could go to court and say, well, actually, our job determines we do need to watch this. And actually, it's you breaking the law by stopping us from watching games, by not putting the game on live.
Or breaking in your house without a search
exactly
warrant.
so.
Well, Premier League's fault.
Exactly. So I think we'd have a court case. Anyway, I have this horrible habit of checking when bad things are happening during football matches because we are effectively in the past. And I have a horrible thing of just checking my phone and going, "Oh, it's all right. They don't score from this."
I've never done.
No, it's horrible. It's horrible. I really need to get out the habit of doing it. And when they got that corner, I just had a sneaky look at my phone just to check if the game was over, and I just seen a little one next to Everton. Now sometimes these apps can be wrong. Someone can press a button or they press it in the VAR. Yeah. So I just put it down and I just sat there. And I just let it unfold, and I watched it. And sometimes you don't have the same feeling when you score because you already know you've scored. Or no, the other one is like sometimes my missus will forget to knock the notifications off, and she'll hear the buzz, and I'll go, "What's that buzz?" Yeah. And you know something's happened. So she's learned to...
I tend to turn my phone upside down. This is more historical because, rewind back 3, 6, 9, 12 months or whatever, when that phone would ping when you were watching, however we were watching. And sometimes, or quite a lot of the time, it wasn't the news that we wanted it to be.
No.
And therefore, because that is... the opposite of what you just said, Baz, in terms of like that brilliant 23 seconds. Yeah. That's a horrible feeling when you know it's happened and you're still sitting there watching it play out.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, so we went down to the end. We watched them. They score. I do celebrate because I'm like, well, we scored and it looks like it's perfectly legit. Because you can actually score that. You can celebrate now that because there was no VAR. There's clearly no VAR. We score, and so it is horrible. That 2-minute window of not being live or minutes or whatever it is horrible.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
I sat there and just relaxed as we broke and seeing it go to the corner, and he smashed it in, and it was brilliant, wasn't it? And to get the win, and that to me just reaffirmed everything David Moyes has done so far. That's 21 points he's got in. We've still got 6 games to go. We had 17 and a half a season. So what it did though, Dave, I just wanted to ask you this. What it did for me was, it was like 2 things sort of. One, again, I just think if we can get some real quality in wide areas, we could be like a Forest and really shock a lot of teams, I think, next season. That was the first thing. But the second thing, it gave me loads of confidence for next season. Now, I'm not saying Everton are going to be going for Champions League place. I'm not saying that, far from it. But I just feel in such a confident position with David Moyes in charge and what we're going to do this summer, and with the players we have, that we can be far, far better next season and what we've been for the last few seasons. Because even on Saturday, I don't know about you two, but I don't think Everton would have been as progressive as they were under the other fella at 0-0 at Forest, who were third in the last few minutes. We were the ones still trying to win the game, still trying to go and win it.
Yeah.
No, so
arguably. But no, I funny enough, I was going to say the same thing in terms of the fact that it was Forest for me was really telling, because I think we all felt the same thing, because we are looking at a team that we could emulate with the right recruitment, and actually to have looked so comfortable against them, and it wasn't a fluke. We played really, really well.
Yeah.
They might have had an off day, so be it. But to be honest with you, even if they were playing well, I felt that on Saturday we would have been a good match for them. That's how good and we were in all departments.
I fancied us Saturday. I know a lot of people were going, "Oh, it'll be so difficult."
No, I thought it'd be really tough.
I just fancied the way we're playing. I fancy us
you
against
earmarked
everyone.
that one for a while, Ped.
Honestly,
this was the one. This was the one that you sort of said more so than the likes of City and Chelsea and whatever. You said this is the one that will be really tough.
No, I thought it would be really tough, but it almost felt like it flipped on them. It felt like they were so nervous. I thought they'd be well up for this game. I thought they would, and maybe this is the naivety of
they hadn't lost in 9 games.
No, that's what I'm saying. Maybe this is my looking at them as a team who are trying to get into the Champions League, but without having the experience. And what basically happened was the flip side happened, didn't it? Is of like they were all, beforehand they'd done a tifo and the atmosphere was crackling and all that. Minute the game started, it was deadly silence. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the atmosphere was terrible. What I mean by that is when we've done it at Goodison Park is every single person is so much concentrating on the game that they forget to sing and do everything else.
Holding your breath almost.
You are literally, you start and you don't get off to a good start and you're just like, the other teams are closing on you and the other teams have got an advantage by having the experience of being there. Chris Wood did not look fit. Alanga, when he came on...
He's not fit. He's only just come back.
Yeah. So I thought their manager bottled it by doing that, by putting players in that were nowhere near ready to play when you could have had someone else who was fit. And I just thought that was going to be the tough one, but they looked terrified and obviously with Moyes' experience, he's probably thought that's exactly how they're going to be as well. Because and that's the thing. If we'd sat back and gone, oh, it's just one of those games, but we didn't. We jumped onto them straight away, and that feeling was there all game, and that feeling of dread was there all game. I think for them, they knew they like you said, it's almost like if we'd got 0-0, then you're gone, oh, it's 0-0. But why aren't we allowed to feel like? That's we should now. I think Moyes said this. I think James Garner come out afterwards and said Moyes had said in the dressing room, get used to games like used to wins like that. And I love that because that's what he's saying is like we're going to be back. We're going after teams. We're not coming here to let someone else have the day. We're going to ruin the day for them in many ways. And I love that attitude of like, who do these think they are? We'll come here, we'll be better than them. And I thought Adesagana Gay and Dwight McNeil in the last minute and then Decore just showed that what you just said is the difference. If it had been under Dyche or it had been under someone else, everyone would stay in the box and everyone would wait for the big punt to come into the box and would deal with it at source and we'll get the 0-0. But those three pressing as high as they could shows the determination of like, no, get out.
Belief as well, wasn't it, Ped?
Get out, stop the cross or stop the pass, force it high, and we'll see what happens. And we did that. And I think Carragher did something on Monday Night Football about it, of like their players not like sort of just thinking that in the last minute we're just going to go for it and not realising we were going for it. And I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, the other thing as well that with regard to it being Forest and that comparison, or almost looking at them and thinking, 12 months down the line, we could be in that position potentially. We could be in a better position than that. I was watching Sky Sports News last night, and they were talking about Liam Delap and whatever, and where he's going to go, etc. And there was people on there kind of saying, well, obviously all the big clubs are looking at him, but does he want to go to a big club? Does he want to go to a Chelsea, someone like that? Or does he want to go to somewhere where he's going to play every week? And I was just thinking, do you know what? Actually, and yes, we're biased, but if you were him or you were his agent, would you not look at someone like us and kind of go, that could be a great move for him? Or am I talking nonsense?
No, I caught that. And they were basically saying, weren't they? He should do 2 years.
Because they were talking about Brighton and stuff like this.
He said Brighton and Forest, didn't he?
Yeah, surely us.
You're absolutely right. But obviously those teams can offer, European football, might be able to offer European football. I can't even work out how far European football might go this season. It's ridiculous, but
and I think 7th or 8th.
It's going to be like.
Oh, was it?
But I don't think it's going to be
9th, couldn't it?
But 9th, I
think it could be if Chelsea win. If Chelsea win the Europa League and
United or Spurs win the.
I think it could be
Chelsea win the Conference. United or Spurs win the.
I think it could go to 9th. No, it wouldn't if they. No, because where they are, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because they're way below. But I think it can be 8th or 9th, depending on what happens. Anyway, so those teams could offer them Europe. I appreciate that. I'm not sure how the Lap suits Brighton, by the way. I think they just threw that name in. I don't think he really suits them. I could see him suiting Forest, because obviously Chris Wood, replacing Chris Wood. But why not Everton for a couple of years? Why?
Absolutely. I would have thought that we were a more attractive proposition than Forest, actually, in terms of yes, the new ground and everything, but the new ground, Moyes, the new ownership. I think personally, and yes, we are biased, but I think given the two, I think that we're the one to go for. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's
just next season for them, that's all. But then depends. They could struggle in the league next year because of your. I imagine they'll level out next year, Forest, in the league.
I agree. If they got any kind of Europe, they'd have the same problem and we'd have the same problem. Of course, the squad is so stretched, and you're trying to play week in and week out. Villa, Newcastle have had the problem. They've got much better squads, so they will need players
Brighton
like that. Yeah,
when Brighton in Europe, they end up finishing 11th.
Villa have had it this season and had to go and get players on loan.
Players, yeah.
So and they've got an experienced manager. But no, they definitely. I think I mentioned it on the news yesterday. Everton are looking at. There was 4 players I think I mentioned who Everton apparently is scouting.
This Rig as well from Sunderland.
Rig, Delap, Ben Doak, and the Burnley centre-back, the left-sided one, of Steve. Those 4 apparently Everton are scouting, and that's the kind. Moyes is going back to like the well of the first time he was here and the early days of going to the Championship and getting the best lads, bringing down the age of the players, the squad, and maybe bringing those lads in as some of the older lads go out to the squad and stuff, and maybe that's where other people might get a 1-year contract as these bed in. But why not? Why we're finishing strong, and hopefully we continue to finish strong. Then people will look at us and go, and I think that's why it's important to finish strong this season, by the way, so that people do look at us and go, wow. Look where they finished. Look how many points he got. Look how many points Moyes got. Momentum. Momentum going into next season. Not just this thing of falling away and I know there's not much points between us and West Ham, but if we can stay above like a West Ham, the gap they had on us when Moyes came in is that is the momentum is there to say we've done incredibly well and we want to keep going. I think that's the message Moyes is trying to put out, isn't it? Is that we are going to be back in the mix. He keeps saying that. He's not like it's not an if, a but or a maybe. It's we are going to be back in the mix.
Well,
but go to good players and that's it.
But you've got players in our squad who, in terms of what they're playing for their own contracts, etc., etc. But also, as we sort of said before, as a club, it's almost like, we're putting ourselves in a shop window so that we can be as appealing or as attractive an option for players, agents, etc. And as you say, if they can carry on putting in performances like they did on Saturday at the City Ground for the rest of the season, then, that's really going to help us, I think, in terms of our people maybe looking at us as opposed to someone else.
Yeah, definitely. And he said that as well, hasn't he? He has sort of said that it's trying to make us look as appealing as possible. So the more games you win, obviously it's easier to talk to players then from other clubs and say we are actually on the up.
Yeah.
And
there's a good opportunity, and that's the other thing about the Lap. If we were in the mix again, we might Man United and Chelsea being, but we were in the mix. He could come in and basically be our number 9 straight away.
Yeah, straight off.
There's he doesn't have to wait. He's got a year's Premier League experience, and we can offer him that straight away. You're our number 9, mate. There's no one in your way. So that's
and then Beto is back up.
Well, that's if Beto stays.
If
Beto, I think if we get a really enticing offer from Italy, I think Beto will be gone.
So it's what I was hearing last night. They were saying that they thought he might stay, but Anyone
Well,
else?
maybe. I just think just about that offer. If Everton could get a really nice offer that sort of made that, like, you know, there was no issues over PSR. Not that there is any issues over PSR in terms of like a breach. What I mean is, so it makes your PSR nice. So you don't have to worry about that, because most teams are going to have to look for that sort of one, not big sale, I think, but every year they're going to have to try and get someone off their books that raises a nice little bit of money so that they can have the kind of summer they want to have. You know, it's almost like you want 3 in, where you're going to have to get rid of 1.
Yeah.
And I think he's that play where you look at, because Moyes is definitely not sure on him, absolutely not sure on him. So it'll be interesting.
It's interesting because when he come on Saturday, he did knock them up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Brien, to me, I think he's talented. I think his touch is really good. He's showed some good stuff early on, but I'm just not convinced he's your number 9.
He's not a lone striker.
He's not alone. He's not going to get you enough goals. He's never in the box. So therefore, if Brien's going to be part of a front line, he has to almost be a wide player in that front line, because hold it up, well, yeah, he's never going to be around. And you saw the difference in the direct runner once Beto come on. They had to go back another 10 yards, and his running caused Murillo. He wasn't comfortable. Milenkovic wasn't comfortable then, and that enabled runners. And Alcaraz made a big difference when he was come on as well, travelling well with the ball, forced them back. So I think, if you're getting a different, Brien is a different option. Brien, to me, Everton should try to get him on loan again, but to use him, and then that means a Beto decision can be made. If someone from Italy does come in with money, and Everton look at it and go, that's a good sort of chunk of money for us, and we'll change it. We'll see. But the Lap is an interesting one, because he hasn't got a record of getting loads of goals, but he has had a brilliant season, and he is building up. He's only 21, I think, isn't he, or something, and he's been at City and all that, so he would be a good signing, and that was what Moyes did last time. But I just think the momentum, the way we're playing, the mentality, the players look really together. The manager at the end going over to the fans, it just feels proper again now. Yeah. It just feels so much more upbeat, Dave. It just feels like, and Moyes ain't messing around. He's very determined that we're going to be back up there. We're going up there, and
what he said, as that what he said to James Garner, as you said before, and I read that as well, about get used to this. It was, I don't know, just feels really good at the moment. And I think that, Saturday just embodied that feeling more so than anything else of late. And if that's the stamp, if we can get anywhere near that for the remainder of the games, then this season, then it'll be good. And as you say, it's not about tailing off this season. Actually, hopefully, it's about going into next season with the momentum that we have now.
Yeah, absolutely. So brilliant win for Everton, and onwards and upwards we go. And obviously, a couple of results of the week. Well, most of the results.
All the results went our way, didn't
they? Really, if you're looking at it from sort of that perspective of, even Wolves beating Spurs. Well, it keeps Spurs there, doesn't it? Very, very interesting. Very interesting. I had a few days away, and we were walking past a family, and the mum said, "There's no use crying over spilt milk," to the kid. And I looked around, and there was no milk.
Nowhere.
But it did get me thinking, these sayings, where have they come from? Why have we adopted it? And how does the kid know what that meant? Because the kid was about 3.
Yeah.
So the mums used it. And I'm sure the kid done what I did, which was look around to see where the milk was, but there was no spilt milk. And so I started having a little think about some of these, and also I just had a little look about some of these sayings, like it.
Last week either.
No, so go on. So let's go back to yours, and then we'll go into a couple.
Last week or the week before? It was the
2 weeks. It was, I think.
2 weeks ago.
I think so.
So I was hanging out my washing on a sunny day, as is my wont when the sun shines.
Yeah, why not?
And I was thinking about the phrase, "Don't air your dirty linen or your dirty laundry in public."
Correct.
I think they say it as both,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we all know that expression, and we've heard it forevermore. We might not use it, but we're aware of it. And then as I was pegging my clothes, the only time I'm going to use that expression. And I thought, why would you be airing your dirty linen or laundry and not your clean linen or laundry? Because nobody airs dirty laundry, do they?
That's weird.
And that's
Unless they haven't got access to cleaning products. So they're trying to freshen up the dirty laundry.
Maybe that's where it comes from.
And you people, and no one wants to see it.
Maybe they're just fucking tramps.
Maybe. So we've got things like raining cats and dogs. Like as far as I'm aware, I've never seen.
There is. I've heard the history on this.
Okay, so go on then.
Raining cats and dogs, I believe.
Yeah.
Refers back to, it won't be Victorian times. It would have been before that. But in the days when people used to sort of throw all their, muck and bath water and stuff out of upstairs windows.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I think it comes from.
Okay. But there's cats and dogs upstairs.
Well,
and he
no,
just
but I
launched
think
them.
it's to do with. Hang on, I kind of want to have a
similar
look.
to don't throw the baby out with the bath
With the bath water. Well, that's
Yeah.
another one, isn't it?
I mean, that's a bit harsh on the baby.
Is this where it comes from? Because like in the Victorian times, you just babies and cats and dogs falling out of the windows.
Just getting launched.
Let's deal with this one by one, right? So airing your dirty laundry in public is revealing private or unpleasant information about someone or oneself publicly.
Yeah.
Right? So we know that.
We know that, yeah.
The dirty bit.
But the origin of it?
Origin of... Hang on. This will clean up in the edit.
We need Sandy Toxic.
Yeah.
Or Stephen Fry would know.
Stephen Fry
would box
Stephen
it off,
Fry
wouldn't
would be
He'd have
brilliant.
this sorted.
Yeah.
He'd have it.
Yeah. He'd have this sorted.
Oh, hang on. Has
Can we ring Sam?
Has roots. Yeah, Sam might know. He could be our phone a friend. Has roots in the idea of laundry being washed and dried outside in the past, where it would have been considered embarrassing to have dirty clothes publicly displayed. But again, it still doesn't. I understand the embarrassment about having your pants out there. But
do you think maybe
explain why dirty laundry is being hung up as opposed to clean or indeed cleaner laundry?
Yeah.
Maybe they put like dirty stuff on the line for like the rain to wash it.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe
that's
like
what they did.
maybe the rain was had so much stuff in it. No, not like acid rain, but like the Thames was like full of all kinds of. So maybe the Thames was full of all kinds of stuff, but it actually cleaned your clothes perversely because it was so polluted. So you stuck your grundy undies on the line.
Yeah.
And the next minute the toxic rain comes down and it cleans it just by that the rain is basically bleach.
Maybe.
That's all I'm saying. And what they're saying is just don't stick your grundy undies on the line because people will be talking about you.
Yeah, people don't want to see it.
You know what I mean?
Origins of raining cats and dogs likely originated in England during the 17th century.
Of course,
right? So early in the Victorian times, which I mistakenly referred to. Possibly from observations of heavy rainstorms that carried dead animals in the street. I don't understand why.
To be fair,
it's like a twist.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, so dead animals in storms. So in 17th century England, city streets were often filthy and heavy rainfall could sweep up dead animals and debris. The imagery might have contributed to the expression. Right? So when you've got dead rats and cats and dogs and stuff, so it is something to do with that. Right?
Okay, all right. Cat got your tongue. Why has a cat got my tongue and what's it doing with it?
Right, hang on. Please.
Because we've heard that.
Yeah.
I don't like,
I have no idea.
I don't mind cats, but I'm unaware of them running around with people's tongues.
Maybe they did. Maybe it was a way of stopping themselves being dead in the streets.
Just eating people's tongues.
Eating people's tongues.
How would they get it?
Ah, right. Now, listen. So this is interesting.
He's animated.
But this is, I find stuff like this interesting because every day's a school day, right?
Yeah.
So the idiom "cat's got your tongue" is thought to have originated from the English Navy's use of a cat and nine tails whip. So it's not a cat at all. Well, it's a brutal punishment that could leave sailors speechless There you go. So because they were getting whipped with the sailors, they were so dumbfounded by the pain that the cats got your tongue.
See, I like that, because that's one that we've obviously, it started off as one thing and now we see it completely as another thing.
Yeah.
And
throw me another one. Let's educate ourselves.
Indiana Jones there.
This is one with couldn't score for Toffee.
I mean, that's literally just about Everton.
That's it, so I'll put it in there.
Hang on.
Is this literally, was Toffee a reward?
So is it really Toffee, or is Toffee an ancient name that the army used to beat the shite out of people?
Possibly. I mean, we don't know.
Was Toffee a fella who used to go round he was actually a goalie?
Yeah, he couldn't score.
Big Toff.
Or was Toffee the manager? He couldn't score for Toffee because of tactics. Was Toffee an ancient dyke?
I think Toffee was the goalie, couldn't score because of Toffee.
Because of Toffee.
Toffee's in goal, giving it the big one in Roy of the Rovers. As Hot Chop Hamus tries to score past
Billy the Fish.
Well, that's a different thing.
It is, but
I feel like Dave's gone silent to find
out.
Well,
no, do you know what it is? I'm just trying to read and absorb it myself before I try and sort of broadcast it in a half-assed fashion, which, by the way, never ever stopped me before in anything that I've ever done. But I feel more professional these days. It is. I still haven't got a definitive thing on it. But it's the underlying notion is presumably a failing to win even the smallest of prizes. This seems to be supported by the extended form of the phrase "could not shoot for toffee, cigars, coconuts, or anything else."
Yeah, that's a bit of a longer one, that isn't it?
Yeah.
You couldn't score for toffee, cigarettes, cigars.
Absolutely, but I don't really know why.
Okay.
Why toffee is significant.
All right. This one, this one's just a lie, innit? Money cannot buy happiness.
Bollocks.
It gives you the good go at it, I reckon. Is it just rich people that say that? Oh, money can't buy happiness.
Jeff Bezos, go and look at what he's walking around with on his arm.
Well, on the same kind of thing.
He's sending women up to space for no reason other than have a little bit of a sing-song.
Katie's gone, hasn't she?
She's gone, she went yesterday. 11 minutes in space.
Full Katy Perry went.
The world's a mess, but you just go into space, love. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Do you want another toffee-based one? Which is,
if you've got it,
it's connected to. I haven't found out the one that we were originally asked. But where does the phrase "toffee-nosed" come from? Right. So apparently, after taking their expensive snuff, right, that people used to sniff in the old days, wealthy people in the old days developed an unsightly brown drip from their noses, which looked like toffee. Wealthy types of the 19th century was known as toffs, who turned up their toff noses at the lower classes. The rest is history.
Wow. And we still call them toffs now, don't we?
That's why we call them toffs. Toffs. I am learning so much.
Every day.
I don't want to be here. I'm learning so much.
Every day is a school day.
I'm in school.
What about break a leg when you go on stage for actors? No one surely wants to go on stage to perform.
That's a good one.
And they end up breaking the leg. Surely. Unless it's a play about 2-footer tackles or something.
Yeah.
Or it's my left leg.
My left foot.
That's the one.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah. Changed it though to my left leg.
My left leg.
Okay, so here we go.
For the theatre.
The origins of break a leg is widely believed to be rooted in theatrical superstitions. Instead of wishing an actor good luck, which was thought to bring bad luck, so it's like an inverse thing. Performers would wish for something bad to happen, like breaking a leg, with the understanding that the opposite would occur, leading to a good performance.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Okay.
There you go.
I mean, it's quite extreme, isn't it? You know?
Yeah. I mean, this one's for Ped. I don't know whether he's going to have to go to the tattoo artist after this and get it removed, but it's darkest just before dawn.
I thought it was going to be something tip related.
No tips.
What? So you want? No, I mean, listen,
darkest
it's not.
Before
it's
dawn.
Not dark.
It's
not
not
true.
Is it,
it's
really?
not true. I'm well aware of this.
Because I'm sure if there was I'm sure I've seen something that the darkest time would actually be midnight.
Yeah, yeah. No, listen, when I got my tattoo on my arm, I didn't just do it willy-nilly, you know.
No, I know.
I made sure all the spellings were correct.
Well, that's good.
And the saying wasn't, you know, ultimately foolish.
Yeah.
You know, it's not quite, doesn't quite make sense because it's not.
Yeah.
But in terms of what it means, then it's you know,
I
it's more of a saying than it is a real thing.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, let me bring some light to this dark.
There you go.
I like what you've done there.
Okay, so it's always darkest before the dawn is a proverb that means things often seem most difficult just before they start to get better or improve. It suggests that the hardest part of a challenging situation is right before the turning point. The proverb encourages perseverance through difficult times, as the worst is often over just before things begin to look up.
Yeah, I like that. Would it be more difficult for you to get a tattoo that was like, it's darkest just before midnight in winter, but in the summer that time change? That would have looked stupid on you now. Well, fair play, I like it.
Either that or don't worry, it'll be sound.
That's not.
It doesn't quite fit though. Doesn't scan. Doesn't scan.
It doesn't.
Doesn't really work that way.
You are what you eat.
That's a good one.
Now you see a lot of people eating like when Ned was here.
Yeah.
He would eat all sorts, and some of that stuff you wouldn't want Ned to be what he ate, would you? Because it would have been strange in here seeing him turn up with those terrible sandwiches that he once used to make for himself. So you are what you eat. Not sure.
Okay, here we go. The saying "you are what you eat" originated in 1826 with French lawyer and author Jean Anthelme Brillat-Savarin's statement.
Okay.
It says, "Tell me what kind of food you eat, and I will tell you what kind of man you are." While the phrase was popularized later, Brillat-Savarin is credited with the initial expression of the idea in his work. The physiology of taste, the core concept of the phrase that food directly impacts a person's physical and mental state, predates Brillat-Savarin's writings, but found its first written expression in his work, according to Springerlink, whoever they are.
Okay.
There you go.
There you go. Dave, I'm loving the educational value of this. You know.
I mean, I'm merely the conduit.
Well, yeah, but I like it. I like it. What about nip it in the bud?
Okay, hang on.
Hello, Dave's just decided he's the man.
Hang on.
Do you know? I mean, we could actually make this a more interactive feature. We could actually build this, and we could get callers or people to text in with their things, and we could actually do this in a live Q&A style.
I feel like that's what we're doing now, but that's fine.
Well, yeah, but we could actually have real people.
Real
on as
people,
well,
not fake
as
people.
opposed to fake people. I like it.
Nip it in the bud. Origin. Okay. Okay, nip it in the bud originated from gardening practices, specifically the act of removing a bud, brackets, a small undeveloped flower or leaf for those people that don't know, from a plant to prevent it from growing into something larger. This metaphorical use extended to the idea of stopping something problematic or unwanted at its earliest stage before it can develop and cause more significant harm.
Okay, I like it.
And makes sense, doesn't it?
I like it. That makes a lot of sense. Final one, head over heels.
Head over heels.
Does that just mean you do a cartwheel because you're so excited?
Please hold.
And isn't your head always over your heels?
Always?
Or not.
Because wouldn't it be heels over head?
Like arse over tit?
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially.
Is your head... Are your heels over your head if you live in Australia?
Don't think so.
Maybe.
I like the thought, but that
just
you know.
Head over heels originated from the older phrase heels over head, which meant to do a somersault or be upside down. The phrase gained its current meaning, referring to being deeply in love or completely enamored in the 1800s. The shift in meaning likely occurred due to the figurative association of being underwhelmed by emotion, particularly love, with the physical act of somersaulting or tumbling. So there you go.
All right. Yeah, sort of make
fair play.
Yeah, fair play. There's not really anywhere else to go with that. But Dave, that was beautiful. QIing by you there. You were almost like Stephen Fry there, except you were using Google.
Google.
But that's fine. That's fine. No problem with that. You do what you do, and I like it. Right, let's leave it there.
I don't know if there's any more we can add.
I don't think there is. I think we leave it there. So there you go. Make sure you like, subscribe, 5-star reviews.
I did go the tip this week, but I just don't think it's worth talking about.
I think we wait.
I think we need.
We want Sam there as well.
Yeah, I don't believe. I feel wrong doing tip stories without Sam.
Because don't forget, with Sam, we had a situation where we talked about him not being allowed to go with his lycra on, and so he still did a few days later, and he posted a pic. So we have to go back to that. So keep your tip story till next week.
Keep your tip. Keep your
tips dry.
Where did that come from?
Let's just do this one. This is like an encore, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Keep your powder dry. Also, by the way, just while I'm searching for that, it would be remiss of us, Peter, to not take this opportunity on this forum to wish our good friend and colleague, Mr. Barry Cass, a very, very happy birthday for today.
It would be.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Thank you
Baz.
very much.
See, but the dilemma is, Dave, this is the dilemma. I bought him giant button cookies and chocolate donuts, but sadly, it's Lent and he can't eat them. Jesus moved Easter to past Baz's birthday and he's ruined the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'll have them. Keep your powder dry. The idiom refers to, it originated from the practical need of soldiers in the 17th and 18th centuries to keep their gunpowder dry for their firearms. It was a direct consequence of gunpowder being susceptible to moisture and therefore requiring careful storage and handling. The phrase is often associated with Oliver Cromwell, who supposedly urged his troops to trust in God and keep your powder dry.
There you go.
Sound. What a great way to...
He also said, don't eat giant button cookies.
And never eat yellow snow.
Never eat yellow snow. Pure
That's a tip for life.
Snow. We'll keep that for next week.
Tip for life.
Yeah, what he said was... Giant cookies aren't technically sweets.
Oh, okay.
Which is what...
Fair play.
So that's
fair play.
Hey, Jesus' words. Not
Jesus, they were the words lived by.
It's what he would have wanted, Baz.
I think so.
But the mad thing was, there was only actually one cookie in there before, and I brought them in to give them to you, and now there's 4.
There's 4. So
do you know what I mean?
Still lives on.
Turning fish into cookies.
There you go. On that note, we're going. We'll see you all next week. Bye.